You know how you can play a passage perfectly in the practice room, but then in a performance, you go to play that first note and it cracks, or it's late, or it comes out thin or weak and sounds nothing at all like what it normally does? Once that's happened a few times, it can be easy for a little hesitation and doubt to creep in right before that entrance, where part of you starts bracing for it to go wrong before you've even played the note. The natural thing is to go back and practice the passage more, to try to drill it until it's truly bulletproof. And sure, we do have to have the notes in our fingers and muscles, but if your entrances are consistently hit or miss when the passage sounds fine in the practice room, the thing that's missing might not be more practice. It might be something mental that you do in the last few seconds before you play. I'm Noah Kageyama. I'm a performance psychologist and Juilliard-trained violinist, and I translate research from the performance science literature into practical strategies to help you practice smarter and perform your best when it matters most. In this video, we'll look at a study that tested whether a specific kind of ritual, one you perform right before you play the first note, could help you start a performance with more accuracy and a greater sense of control. We'll see what the results suggest about what a routine like this can actually do for us, mentally and physically, and I'll share a few specific things you can do in those final seconds before your entrance to make that first note feel like less of a gamble. If you watch any high-level sport, you'll notice athletes doing these little rituals right before they perform a skill. Golfers take a couple of practice swings before they hit a shot. Tennis players bounce the ball a certain number of times or spin the racket before they serve. Basketball players go through a certain combination of bounces and spins and other quirky-looking actions before shooting a free throw. These can look like superstitious behaviors, but research suggests that these athletes are onto something, and there's a name for what they're doing: pre-performance routines. Much of the research on this has focused on higher-level athletes, people trying to squeeze out that last 1% of their ability. So a 2015 study set out to test something different. Is a pre-performance routine only useful once you're already an expert? Or could it help even when you're still learning a skill, when you're not at a high level with it quite yet? To find out, the researchers recruited 240 high school students and had them work on a skill that was relatively new to them. Everyone was randomly assigned one of 4 sports skills: a golf putt, a tennis serve, a volleyball serve, or a basketball free throw. Everybody got instruction on the technique, plus time to practice. But here's where the groups split. One group, called the mental and motor group, watched videos of elite athletes' pre-performance routines, which included both the physical actions and the mental actions, like what to think about or where to focus in those last moments before performing. They were then asked to build a similar routine into their own practice. A second group, the motor-only group, watched similar videos, but they only saw the physical parts of the routine, the movements and not the mental side. And the third group, the control group, just got the technique instructions, nothing about what to do or think in the final seconds before performing. After a couple of practice sessions, everyone was tested and asked to perform their skill as accurately as they could, with a point system for how close they got. In the basketball task, for instance, a clean swish was worth 3 points. If it went in but hit the rim first, 2 points. If you hit the rim and missed, 1 point, and an air ball was 0. So, did a pre-performance routine actually help these non-experts? And did it matter whether the routine included the mental part or just the physical motions? The answer to the first question was yes. Across all the skills, both routine groups outperformed the control group. The mental and motor routine group scored highest. The motor-only group came in next, and the control group, the ones with no routine at all, were the least accurate. And here's the part worth reinforcing because it's kind of the whole point. The routine groups didn't practice more than the control group. Everyone got the same instructions and the same practice time. The only thing that separated them was what they did in the moments right before they performed. And in case you're wondering if there was any difference between sports, the answer is yes. In the golf task, the mental and motor group significantly outperformed both the motor-only group and the control group. But in the other 3, tennis, volleyball, and basketball, both routine groups beat the control group. And there was no statistically significant difference between the mental and motor group and the motor-only group. So at least in terms of accuracy, in 3 of the 4 sports, adding the mental element to one's routine didn't clearly beat routines with only physical elements included. So that raises a fair question. If the mental part didn't reliably improve accuracy beyond the physical routine, was it actually doing anything? Or could you skip it and just do the physical movements? Well, separately from the skills test, everyone filled out a questionnaire before and after the whole thing, measuring how in control they felt when performing. Things like whether right before performing they could remember previous successes performing the skill, or clear their mind of any thoughts that could get in the way of what they were about to do. And of the three groups, only one showed a real before and after improvement in how in control they felt, the mental and motor group. So the mental part wasn't useless after all, it just did a different job. The physical routine helped everyone start more accurately, but adding the mental side, the concentration and deliberate attention in those last few seconds, that's what left people feeling genuinely more in control. And that feeling, being in control going into a skill, is often what's missing when an entrance turns into a coin flip. When you're tense, fighting off doubt, and hoping the first note speaks just right, you're not really in the best mental, physical, or emotional state to nail the opening. And the mental side of a routine is the part that will help you hold things together when your heart's pounding and you've got one shot to get that first note out cleanly. Why does a routine help in the first place? Well, the answer isn't fully settled. Researchers have proposed a few overlapping explanations, like it might help us plan the movement, it might sharpen focus and attention, it might calm some of the nerves, or simply give us that sense of being in control going in. It's probably some combination, and which one matters most may depend on the person and the movement. So how do we put this into action? The good news is that none of this is about adding more repetitions to your practice day. It's about building and practicing a short routine that you can use right before you play. Here are a few things you can take away from all of this. Thing number one, notice the physical routine you might already have without realizing it. Maybe you set your feet, take a breath, bring the instrument up, and settle in a certain way. A wind player might adjust the reed. A brass player might lick their lips or take a particular kind of breath. A lot of us silently finger the first few notes or imagine them before playing them. We tend to do these things at random. The first step is just to make them intentional. Pick the ones that actually help you settle and do them in the same order every time. So the start becomes something you can count on instead of something that varies every performance. Thing number two, don't neglect the mental ingredients. This is the part the study suggests might do the most for your sense of control. And a few ingredients tend to come up pretty consistently when speaking with musicians. One is a slow breath plus a quick scan for tension, like the jaw, the throat, the shoulders, the embouchure, and letting it go. Another is taking a moment to picture the character or imagine the tempo or the mood, the quality of sound that you want, all of those nuances and details that you want coming out in your playing before you play anything. And for a wind or brass player especially, it might be hearing the exact pitch in your head and feeling the support or air before the note ever speaks. The goal, of course, being to arrive at that first note already knowing exactly how you want it to feel and sound. Thing number three, be sure to rehearse your routine. The participants didn't just use their routines on test day, they built them ahead of time until they were automatic. So practice using a routine every time you work on the entrance you're worried about. And take it one step further. Every so often, practice starting cold. Set the instrument down for a minute, then walk up, go through your routine once, and play the entrance as if it's the real thing on the very first try. Because getting it right on the first try is the thing that actually matters in a performance or an audition. And it's the one thing that endless repetitions in a row never allows us to practice. None of this takes much time. A routine can be 10 or 15 seconds, but those few seconds could very well be the bridge between all the work you've already put in and whether it actually shows up in that first note. If inconsistencies on stage have been a long-standing frustration, I put together a free 7-day email course called Pressure Proof that guides you through how to build a pre-performance routine like the one we talked about today, plus other essential practice and performance strategies designed to help you get things right the first time more consistently. I put a link to sign up in the description below.